Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Room Conversations. I'm Joshua Fields Milburn.
And I am Ryan Nicodemus, and together we are the Minimalists, and it's time for another Living Room Conversations with special guest TK Coleman.
TK, we have a question from Natty. Natty asks, how do I quit the job I hate?
Well, you just read a resignation letter, right?
I think you run into your boss's office and say, screw you, I quit.
Dear who it may concern.
So we thought TK would be the right person to talk to about this question. So TK, if someone comes to you and said, I really want to quit this job that I absolutely hate, what do I do? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so I hear two possibilities in that question. One, I hear a question about professionalism, and on the other hand, I hear a question about power. The professional interpretation of that question is, hey, I'm ready to move on. I've made the decision that I'm going to move on. How do I terminate this relationship with integrity? That's the professional question. The power question is, hey, I hate my job. I'm ready to move on, but I'm not sure if I have the power to make this happen yet. How do I get out of this situation that I don't want to be in? Like, how do I find a new opportunity? So we got to treat those two differently. And since that person isn't here right now, I can't be like, which one do you mean? So we'll have to answer both. So the professionalism question is this. I would say, number one, realize that you never know when you're going to need people, and that you always want to treat people with respect, because not only does word float around, but your reputation is like gold, and you would want someone to leave you in the same way. You would want to leave someone in the same way that you would leave them. So I always say, when you leave a job, if at all possible, even if you hate the job, be classy, be professional, treat everyone with respect, because people are watching you, and even if you are justified in hating them, it's never a good look for you to play small. So be the bigger person, not because that's what Buddha would have done, but because that's what makes you look best, and that's what's most fitting for your brand. I always say a minimum of 2 weeks notice. I prefer to do something like a month or two and offer to assist in finding my replacement. Sometimes people say things like, oh, don't worry about that, you don't have to do it. But I always say, hey, look, I appreciate the opportunity to work here. It's time for me to move on. I found another opportunity that I can't refuse, and I just wanted to give you a heads up and let you know that in a month I'll be transitioning to a new company or whatever it is.
Now, what if she doesn't have the next opportunity? If she absolutely she hates this job that she's in, she wants to leave, but that dream job just isn't available for her yet. What do you recommend in that scenario?
Sure. So you always have to deal within the realm of reality. Deal with problems within the realm of reality. So the first question to ask is, do you have the option of leaving right now and doing something that you hate less? If yes, then go ahead and do it, because that's what it means to have the option.
Well, now you're saying it doesn't have to be perfect. It's something you hate less.
It's something, yes, absolutely. One of the biggest fallacies people make when they are doing something that they hate and they want to find something that they're more passionate about is they make it this binary thing of polar opposites. Either I'm doing something that I hate more than anything in the world, or I'm living my dream job. And between those two things are many different options. There's what you hate, but then there's what you hate less. There's what you hate less. There's what you hate less. My colleague and co-founder Isaac Morehouse wrote a book about this very thing, and I recommend you pick up a copy. It's called Don't Do Stuff You Hate. And he says, instead of trying to find what you love, just try to reduce the amount of hate in your life. So you could argue that it's kind of like a minimalist approach to hate, right? Instead of trying to get rid of it all at once, like just reduce the amount of hate gradually. So find something that you hate less. If that's not an option, then we have to change the question, because it's no longer fair to you to ask, well, how do I leave to go pursue this other opportunity? Because you're saying there isn't one. And if there isn't one, then that means, how do I cope with the opportunity that I hate while I create something that I hate less? So the way you do that is you accept the fact that this is where you are right now, that it doesn't have to be permanent. And then you accept the responsibility for using whatever time you have outside of work to get your hustle on and begin to build whatever that dream is. Whether that's consuming content that's going to help you shape your thinking around the issue, whether that's looking for other job opportunities, or finding out what skills you need to develop in order to be able to do something that you like a little bit more. And that's not going to be easy, but here's one thing I firmly believe. There's no shortcut around cause and effect. I think it's very fashionable nowadays for people to ask questions about how to get what they want, and for advisors to feel a lot of pressure to offer a life hack to everything. But there's one thing that can't be life hacked, and that's cause and effect. So for instance, if someone says, hey, guys, I want a job, but I don't feel like applying. I don't feel like putting in a resume, or I don't want to do an interview. How can I get a job? And then people squirm and wiggle and try to figure out how to tell a person how to get a job without doing an interview or putting in a resume or putting in an application. You can't do that. You got to be willing to do those things, even if they're uncomfortable, even if they aren't easy. And so what I would say is, accept that this is where you are. Look at your job as your first investor that's making it possible for you to answer the tough questions about survival, while outside of work, you're gradually putting in just maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day building your dream.
Yeah, that's way better than running into your boss's office and saying, screw you, I quit.
Yeah, that only hurts you. Right?
Yeah, and I think that's ultimately what we want to get to, is we don't want you to hurt yourself. We want you to make these incremental improvements, and it's not going to happen overnight. If you do indeed hate the job that you're at, it is the stepping stone toward whatever the next stepping stone is. But even that is likely not going to be your final destination.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. If you want to check out TK Coleman's website, is tkcoleman.com. We'll put a link to that in the in the show notes below. And also, his company Praxis. It's discoverpraxis.com, and he has a great podcast called Office Hours. You can check out the new season to that. He's also on our podcast next week. We'll see you soon.
See you next time.